Remember, if enough people do an illegal thing at once, coordinated together, then it's not illegal anymore. Okay? If enough people commit a crime together, if the amount of people at once in one place committing a crime together is high enough, then it's not a crime. Because the resources necessary for it to be a crime aren't existent. They're not there once you pass a threshold. Remember, there are people in charge of you who profiteer off of your existence who don't necessarily have your best interests at heart. Because profiteering off of you does not necessarily mean you profit with. And it usually means you don't. It's usually exploitative. But here's the thing about that power structure, that dynamic. There's less of those people than you. So when you do something they don't like, they isolate you, and then they punish you brutally, so that everybody else will look at that one guy and go, "Oh, geez, that looks awful. I don't want that to happen to me. I better stay in line." But if everybody were to coordinate and do a bunch of shit that those people don't like together, there really is nothing they could do about it, because there's less of them than us, and they're a lot weaker than us. People in charge, here's the thing you might not realize, but if you actually start to pay attention and look at it, you'll notice people in charge are actually physically, typically a lot weaker than the people they're in charge of. Not just by a numbers game, but a one-on-one basis. People at the tippy top tend to be scrawny little weak baby men, and they're usually really old and brittle and fragile. And the thing is that they use systems of power to make themselves strong. But it's all illusory, because if we just coordinate and communicate with each other and, work on scheduling and synchronizing watches and stuff, then all of a sudden they're not strong and they're not in charge. All of a sudden we can do whatever we want, and things like law and order and rules and boundaries don't exist anymore. So that's just food for thought, you know what I mean? The traffic signal says don't walk, and you're waiting on Lake Michigan, or on Lakeshore Drive by Lake Michigan. You're waiting with like fucking 25 or 30 people to cross Lakeshore Drive, but the thing says don't walk. But you say to them, if we all just started walking, the cars would stop, and none of us would get hit by a car, and no one would get in trouble. But they don't do it. They just don't do it. Because, why do it? The stakes are low. We can wait. But sometimes the stakes are high, and we can't wait. And in those situations, you should just start walking.